Good evening. Well, we had the Who's on today at Rosehill. There have been, of course, a swag of meetings. Um, these country meetings that are on every day, and without harping on it, um, they drive you mad. That you have to look at the rotten things. On New Year's Eve, on Tuesday, um, was it Tuesday? I think it might have been. I forget. At Gosford, the track was good at Gosford on New Year's Eve. The rail was 3 metres out, and there was a good solid nor'easterly blowing all day, and but it didn't stop leaders getting home. Leaders were able to win. Most of the winners were up near the lead, were up near the lead, and there was one winner that wasn't a bad effort. That was in the third race, a runner called Saturday Saga. There were a couple of late scratchings at the barrier. 11-2 chance and a 7-2 chance, I suppose, which made it a bit easier for it. But well, have a look at the win, and it wasn't. It was a fairly solid effort, and it was only a maiden over a mile, but it might possibly win again its next start. The other races was about where they sort of were thought to be during the day, and a lot of well-back runners won. And as I say, most of the winners were up near the lead. Then we went to, on New Year's Day, we went to Randwick. Excuse me. Now, the track was given out dead, upgraded to good, and the rail was 3 metres out. And when I walked in, there was a good stiff nor'easter blowing, and of course the first favourite, Layback Larry, which we all thought would lead. I said to myself, well, this will be running into the wind down the side, and there's a chance the wind is going to have some effect on this runner. Well, I looked out the window through the glass at the new grandstand. Excuse me, and that pooty blew. And for some reason, I don't know why, it was the only time all during the day, although there might have been 1 or 2 occasions where I didn't see it. But all of a sudden, during this race, the wind dropped dramatically, and it wasn't as strong during the race for some reason as it was before and after. The gods looked down on Layback Larry. It wouldn't have mattered if it ran into a gale. It still would have won this race. It led, got an easy time down the back. We put it up a $1.60 chance. Well, have your 6 for 4, and it got out to the 11 to 8 on about a $1.70 chance, even a $1.75. But at the finish was a $1.55 chance, very well backed. And as I say, even though it got an easy time down the back, coming down the side, was rolling along. After they topped the rise, it was shaken up by Adam Hieronymus. It went away and won by 5 1/4 lengths. Wouldn't have mattered if the wind was very strong and it ran into it. It still would have won this race. Whether it says much for it or it doesn't say much for the others, I'm not too sure. Possibly not too much for the others. And then, of course, the rest of this program on New Year's Day at Randwick, we did see the bias kick in fairly strongly. I'm sure the wind had something to do with it, because after race 1, the winners all came off the pace and well off the fence. Like going through the program, even like coming to the last race, we had 11 runners, and it drew barrier 11 Bonsai, the designated leader. It went straight to the lead and steered by Ichikawa. It stayed 5 and 6 off the fence all the way. And who was looking at it? The very well backed favourite Shelford, about 4 lengths away at one stage, and there was another 4 lengths away to the third horse at around about the 600 metre mark or 500 metre mark, and that was Proconsul. Proconsul finished up running second to Shelford, and coming from off Proconsul's back was Master Stroke, who was sensationally backed in that race, $13 into $7, Master Stroke, and it finished up running third, and the leader ran fourth. But as I say, they were well off the fence all day, and it's very easy to see. Well, in the sixth race, the Tattersalls Cup, it tried to lead all the way, and it was a brave effort. Travolta, trained by I Own the Lead Gay, same as the first winner, Layback Larry, and looking at it, chasing it all the way, was Permit, perfectly rated by Bold Blake Shin. Down the back, Travolta, after missing the kick and slightly copping a little bit of a check at the start, he went to the lead out of the straight the first time, and when they got into the back straight, he set up a good 6-length break and still held a big margin coming to the turn, maybe 4 lengths. Coming up the rise, Shin had him in his sights, and the favourite Destiny's Kiss, it came from second last, and as Mark Sheen said, it did get into an awkward spot, and just about at the 800 metre mark, he slightly lost his momentum. There was the 400 to 1 chance, Johnny's Dream, had made a quick move. It was sitting back in the field. It was sitting in last position. When they went out of the back straight and started to come down the side, it made a quick move and went past Destiny's Kiss, and just for 1 or 2 strides, Destiny's Kiss lost its momentum, which was a vital part of I think, well, important part of where the race panned out. And the margins when they hit the line were only 0.2 by 0.5, ahead more or less by half a length to between the three of them, with Permit just grabbing Travolta in the last 1.5 hops. And as I say, Destiny's Kiss running on from well back, only beaten the half a length. They got well away from the others. But so it was a brave effort, I suppose, by Travolta. But as you'll see, the runners had to be well off the fence. We all saw in the Carrington Stakes, we all saw Dance on Stars held up for half an hour in the straight. When it finally got clear, went through and got the chocolates. In that race, it had to switch back to the inside D and G, which wasn't the place to be. So when you're doing your form for Randwick's New Year's Day meeting, you'll have to make some allowances there. Now on the 2nd of January, that was on Thursday, we were at Wyong, and at Wyong there was a steady nor'wester blowing before the first race. The track there was good and the rail was in the normal position, but you could, as it turned out, well, we all thought after the first, say, 2 races, and possibly although the third race, the runner that sat outside the leader, they finished up running 1-2, and then the next leader won, Lyric. So there wasn't, as it turned out, any bias on the track at Wyong either. The wind at one stage was very, very strong, switching around from a bit of a westerly direction, and then it went to a calm by race 5, and race 6 it was very light. Race 7 it picked up again, but it was out of the southwest. But as I say, And in that last race, of course, we saw the prices, the SP returns at Wyong. I think if you have a look at them, there was plenty of percentage on the SP returns. We only had 2 captains on the fence, being a holiday situation and few bookies are away, and I was the only captain in the outside ring, and well, the prices were seldom things are what they seem. Skimmed milk masquerades as cream, and the prices, the SPs, well, for instance, there was a 10 to 9 on chance that one there returned $1.90. I was $2.40, couldn't lay it, and there were well, and the last winner was returned $19. When they jumped, I had $51 on my board. Little bit of difference, and that was the case all during the day. So the SPs were not what they seemed to be or what they were. I was a lot better than the SP prices, and as I say, there was a little bit of a I thought there could have been a little bit of bias against the leaders after watching the first 2, but then after that there was no bias, and you could lead or you could run on, as did the last winner. Dinted the runner that ran second in the last race. It led, and the winner came from a hopeless position, even on the turn after settling back in third last position. A runner called Kalis, as I say, I was 51, it was returned $19. Bit of difference there. It might have given the leader Dinted, who ran second, 8 lengths at least on the turn, and it sailed down the outside and won. Now we came to the meeting at Rosehill, and when it comes to the bias here, well, the track today was good and the rail was 3 metres out, and we had a good solid northeasterly blowing, and it wasn't strong enough to stop leaders. The first winner we had was Reply Churlish, the favourite. He got a very easy middle section here, proper Peter Roble, and that most probably got him home. He did stay tied up against the fence all the way. It was a distance race, 1,800 metres. It was only 0.1 by 0.3 of a length when they hit the line. And then as the program went on, riders got, they seemed to come from behind, and they got wider and wider in the straight. Race 5, Kinsella, in a field of 11, drew barrier 11, the perfect barrier for this runner, ridden by Jay McDonald. He took control and he stayed 5 off and 6 off the fence all the way to the turn, and stayed in that position all the way down the straight. Well, coming that before that race, we all said, well, the fence is no good here, and it was evident, I suppose, in the next race when Mercy won. But all of a sudden in race 7, I'll go back to race 1 in a minute. Race 7, we had 2 blue leading on the fence, having an easy time by the same token, and coming right along the fence, running second, getting inside 2 blue towards the finish. And by the way, the rider of the second horse here, Reflectance, dropped his whip at the 15-metre mark. Not that it would have made any difference. There's only half a length in it, but they never left the fence, and they ran 1-2 and had everybody scratching their head. But the bias kicked in again. Well, so-called off the fence proved to be a bit better even the last race. So anyway, we get back to this first. They said there was 104.5 on the screen. There was about 4 less in the marketplace, about 101. Oh, and as I said, Reply Churlish straight to the lead. It's made it 4 wins in a row now. Nice easy section, perfectly rated by proper Peter Roble. Coming from 6th position, 1 off the fence, to run second was Forever Crazy, more or less having his chance. Coming from just behind it and inside it, getting around heels after straightening, was Easter Ireland, making up a lot of ground. 1 more stride, and the second horse and the third horse most probably get the biscuits. But anyway, the post loomed up too quickly, or they ran out of time, and they weren't able to catch this favourite. And the bookies had a bad result, the captains, in the first race. The second pick here, Darcy Drama, the blinkers went off today and up in distance. Apparently the blinkers are going on next start and back in distance. We all saw it, Fluke winning that race at Canterbury. We put them up $3 a pair. 2 to 1 the field, we said. 2's a pair. 2 to 1 the field, and replied Shirlish was, well, there was $3.10 given, $3, and it was into $2.60 at one stage. I was $2.80 again when they jumped like a fool laying it. It got out to $4.20, which you wouldn't see Darcy Drama. Came back into about $3.80, 70, but got back out to $4 on my board, and then they jumped. It had every possible chance of setting them 1-1 position, and ran fourth, beaten 2.8 lengths. Race 2 here. The figures here, some of these races were all right today. It's a pity there weren't any grumble and grunters there. 107, they said, on the screen in the second race. 5 less in the marketplace, about 102. And this race was won by Fighting Sun, trained by Gay. Didn't lead. It went straight to the lead. The visitor from Melbourne, Boomwa, and sitting on its outside was Bio, and getting a lovely run just in behind them. Trap 3 wide outside the leaders was a runner, a first starter called Stratton, trained by P. Moody, and getting a good suck just behind the 3 of those runners coming to the turn was the favourite, Fighting Sun. It had dropped off after sitting wide, Stratton, and stayed wide off the track, and the favourite eased around their heels and proved a bit too strong. By the same token, even though it was evident, I suppose, at the furlong it was most probably going to win, it did only win by 0.8 of a length, and coming from just past midfield on the fence, easing off heels, turning for home, running only, being a bit dour, was the top weight and third pick, Cumon, and it was 1.3 lengths away in third position. The favourite beat the second favourite, beat the third favourite. Race 3, they said there was 100, this was the biggest discrepancy all day, although with losing figures for the captains, 106.7 on the screen, only 98% in the marketplace. And this race was won by Dolphy's Boy. I had a client, they gave $12. No, actually, you're not going to believe it, but I saw 15. I saw $15 given about this runner. There was $12 and plenty of 11. I had a client take $10 off me while I was looking at 11. I did manage to win something on the race, but it took all of the cream off out of my ledger, and it came from third last on the fence. Dolphy's Boy, a fairly strong win, going away and winning by 1.6 or 1.1.5 lengths. It was on its outside, Diamond Jim, whereas when they turned for home, the winner, Dolphy's Boy, got inside the runner who was in front of it, Banded Bay, and then eased off heels, where Diamond Jim, who was on the outside of the winner, it went a little bit wide on the turn, but it wouldn't have mattered. The winner was far too strong for it. This race wasn't much good because the opening favourite here, Black Jag, we put it up a 7 to 4 chance, or 7 to 4 the field, and it got out to $4.20, $2.80 out to $4.20. I couldn't crack it for any section out of it. Well, one section got out of it, one section, and it was more or less unlayable. They said you can have it, and there are plenty of other runners backed in this race. Prince of Sophia, well, it might be the last time they fall into it. It was $11 into $6.50. Diamond Jim at one stage $7.50 given. Only started 9 to 2, $5.50. Run Harder Son, I gave plenty of $7 for good section and $6.50. Started that on my board. Centre Desert, as it turned out, didn't have a price. It was $8.50 into 7, but back out to $8 unlabelled at the finish. Dolphy's Boy, as I say, you wouldn't see it, but $15 bet. Only started $10, hard to get. Hasten was backed, $18, $17 into about 12. Banded Bay, they took $11, started $9.50, and the bottom one was 101. But without the favourite, Black Jag, they're going into the ledger. It was very hard to work on the race. Now, race 4, they said there was, and I told you what the story was there. The winner was a solid win because it came from well back in the field. The 2 lead, it ran along Black Jag, but not fast. Centre Desert on its outside. We got to the 4th race, and they said there was a fat 115.5 on the screen. And I must admit, it was all right. There was only 108 in the marketplace. And this race was won by, I didn't really like it at all, Fiandon, the runner that won the maiden at Wyong. But after the race, of course, I had a good fella come up and told me, oh, when this one at Wyong, you know, this was as fat as a fool. I said, well, I wish you would have come and told me. Well, it's no good telling me that now. I assessed an honest win up there and with not much improvement, and I marked it 20 to 1. I'm the best mug of all times. And of course, it was very well backed. One of our pros won an absolute bucketful on this. There was as much as, well, plenty of $10 given about it. I don't think the top fluck was that big. And I think they returned at $8 or $8.50. But it was extremely, extremely well backed. And it led, as it did at Wyong, and it got out under pressure all the way down the straight, and it was sort of finished well out, further out in the middle of the track by the time they hit the winning post. And the runner that ran second in this race was the bottom one here, Sarah Gardo, who copped an awful prat at last start at Canterbury. It missed the kick slightly, and it settled down in second last position in between runners in a very awkward position. And they, as I say, with the leader getting off the fence all the way down the straight, hanging out under pressure, there were plenty of gaps all the way down the straight for runners to make up ground, and the second horse did make up plenty of ground, Saragaldo, to only go down by 0.4 of a length. The extremely well backed the Alfonso in this race. It settled down in 4th last or 5th last position outside its stablemate Villanova. They made their runs right down the outside together, but were never going to win. And as Mark Sheen said, it was under pressure, the Alfonso, before the turn. He had to put a couple around its backside to keep it going. It kept on getting to the line, but as I say, was never, ever going to win. A runner that got a 40 to 1 chance that got slightly held up, trying to get in between runners when they were in the middle of the track, halfway up the track, was Down Charlie, and it should have finished a little bit closer without winning. I suppose the winner has improvement in it, and when Gay gets hold of it, I suppose they'll correct its waywardness today, and I suppose it might win another race shortly. Race 5, they said there was 111.8 on the screen. There was a good 9% less in the marketplace, only 102. Now, where can I see the main difference here? Although there were lots of differences in lots of the prices, 1 and 2% here and there. So there wasn't the 111.8. There's only about 102. And this race was won by Kinsella, $4.60 into $3.40. And as I say, it was perfectly placed in this race, drawing the outside alley. Field of 11, it was always going to lead and have full control of this race. Only thing was if anything, was able to get up on the outside of it. But once McDonald crossed, Cosmic Cameo, who drew barrier 1, he didn't go anywhere near the fence. He got onto its back, eased off the fence after they'd gone a furlong, and stayed in that 5 wide lane. And on its outside was Miss Alibi, who drew the barrier 10, barrier 10 in a field of 11, and it sat outside Cosmic Cameo. And but when they came to the turn, being where it was going to be hard for any runner to come inside, and also especially for the runners back in the field to make ground out wide, because they were already wide, which makes it very difficult. And it held on to win by 3/4 of a length, beating Dream Choice, trained by Darren Smith, who sat in 4th or 5th last position, getting a good suck behind 3 runners. And as I say, made up plenty of ground down the straight to get into second hole. And the runner that chased the leader and winner, Cosmic Cameo, it finished up holding on to run 3rd, beaten 1 length. The winner's run was flattered. Now we got the winner's win was flattered. Race 6, another fat percentage on the flux screen, which is very rare for Sydney, especially for Saturday, 115.6. There was 10 less in the marketplace. Now these were the flux in this race. Kinnersley, who led, I Own the Lead, Gay, finished up running last, beaten 9.3 lengths. It was resuming from a spell today. Excuse me. Now, it was $26 out to 60. Tromso was $15 out to 20, not 21, but out to 20, back into $15, extremely well backed. Now, Eaglestein, who drew barrier 1, it didn't have a price. It went from $10 out to 26. It returned a lot better. I was 26. I cracked it for a little bit of section. Disciple, a stablemate, it was $8.50 out to $11, back into $8.50, or even $9. Now, Sacred Flyer, another Waller runner. He had 4 runners in this race, Mr. Waller, numbers 2, 3, 4, and 5. Was Sacred Flyer resuming from a spell. Another runner that didn't have a price. They said the top fluck was $17. I had $26 on my board when they jumped, and I never cracked it for a caser. It was $15 out to $26. Now, Babel, there was a lot of top fluck money around for this. It opened up $3.70. It came in to as little as $3.30, but it was $3.80 begging at the finish of betting, if not $4. Gangster's Choice was sensationally backed. It didn't start as short as the SP. It knuckled on jumping, and that was the end of it. It missed a kick by 2 lengths. It lost its footing when the gates opened, and it had the vet said it had a bit of a laceration on its shoulder and also its neck. It missed the kick by 2 lengths, and that was the nail in the coffin for it. It was $5.50 out to $6. Returned $4. I was $4.40 when they jumped. Queen's Elect was 50 out to 100. Now, Jack and Obey was $6 out to $7.50, back into $6.50, but back to 7 towards the end of betting. Then we had Skip Town, who always seems to find 1 or 2 runners better than it. Very honest galloper. $10 out to 12, back into $10. Fireball, $26 out to 41, back into 31. And the winner, Mercia, the top fluck was $6.50. A blind man could have got 7, but there was a good bit of $7.50 given. So two points better than the best fluck. No 115.6, about 105. And as I said, Kinnersley went straight to the lead. Skiptown chased it 3 lengths away, and then another 3 lengths away to Babel, who was always going to be up near the lead, especially from that alley. And who got right onto its back was the winner, Mercia, ridden by Christian Reith. He was he was closer to the fence coming down the side, but then by the time they'd got to the turn and Kinnersley was weakening, Skiptown was getting past it, Babel was getting past, did actually get past Skiptown, and Skiptown came again and beat Babel for the second position, but coming off and never leaving the favourite out of his sights was Christian Reith aboard the winner Mercia, who we all saw get badly held up last start, taking no part. He eased, they were very wide, they were in the middle of the track. He eased off his heels halfway down the running and went away and beat, as I say, Skiptown, who came again by only a half a length, and it was 0.9 of a length away to Babel, the favourite. They got well away from the others. It ran fourth, number 8, Queen's Elect, and making up a lot of ground, but never going to win after Mr. Kick was Gangster's Choice. Then we got to race 7. On the screen again, 111.5. Well, you know it's just not right. So there was 8% less in the marketplace, at least, only about 103%. And this is where we all started to scratch the old melon. Because Two Blue, ridden by bold Blake Shin, was taken straight to the lead. Sitting on its outside was Samui Lad. Tucked right in behind the leader on the fence was In Peril, who was, it was announced, was to be ridden with cover. And in this race also they said that Kukla was going to be ridden back. And it settled midfield actually. Anyway, tucked in on the fence behind the leader was In Peril from barrier 1. It brushed the rail, didn't have any effect at one stage of the race. And sitting on its outside was Exceed and Exalt. And on the back of In Peril was the second place getter, Reflectance, and In Peril had got off the fence before the turn, trying to ease off heels. Bold Blake Shin didn't make any effort because he was travelling so sweetly and knew that he had plenty of horse underneath him in Two Blue. And as I say, travelling sweetly, he when he flattened out, he had a kick. He'd got clear. There was nothing really coming from down the outside or from just behind him. The runners, you could see they weren't going to catch him. And Reflectance, it got up on the inside towards the finish. As I said, the rider dropped his whip in the last 50 metres, only beaten a half a length, and they never left the fence, that pair. And we all were sort of scratching our heads saying, well, what about the fence now? But there was something to do. I don't know, the wind coming out of the northeast might have had something to do with runners near the fence, but there were leaders that won earlier in the day, so I'm not putting it down to that. I'm going to say the fence was slightly inferior. And then we came to the last race, of course, and this runner, it proved, I might say, that although the second horse, Almighty Charge, did lead, he got off the fence before the turn, but finished, and then halfway up the straight, he was a good bit off the fence, but finished a little bit closer to the fence when they got down to the winning post. But the winner was a good win because it was the last runner to hit the ground. It missed the kick. It settled down in third last position on the fence, eased off heels, turning for home, and made up got onto the back of the top weight Red Excitement, who sat just past midfield with a fairly good run. And when they turned for home, oh, that boot he blew. when they turned for home, um, the winner Turbulent Jet had got onto the back of Red Excitement, who was looming up, made a run before the turn out wide, and was well ridden, and it eased off his heels after they flattened out, and went out after the leader, Almighty Charge, who had got clear and finished too well for it, beating it at half a length. And that pair got right away from the others, was 2 lengths back to the top weight Red Excitement, who did have 61.5 on its back, beaten 2 lengths. So its run wasn't bad, but the winner's win was a good run. Turbulent Jet, it can do that. It's got a very powerful finish. That was about the meeting. The runner Ashmar, it finished up running 4th in this race. It was on the back of the leader all the way from barrier 1. Was very well back towards the end of betting. It didn't start favourite. Red Excitement started favourite. We put it up 7-2. Red Excitement got out to $5. Was into 4.20 at one stage, but got back out to 4.60 towards the end of betting. And Ashmar was $5 out to $6, back into $4.80 towards the end of betting, extremely well backed. And the winner also, well, it was the next best back runner, the Turbulent Jet, as much as $12 given in the outside ring, plenty of 11 on the fence, and it only started $8.50. Again, one of our leading pros won an absolute bucketful on it. Well, that was about the meeting today and those few meetings we had during the week. If you are wire netting, I hope you won. Good evening.